All right, welcome and good day. Welcome to our webinar about maximizing your report capabilities using Jet Reports. Today, I'll be starting off with a little introduction of myself. After that, we'll talk about who is Insight Software, what do we do, but of course, the topic of the day is what is Jet Reports and how can it help you? By the end, I'm going to do a demo. I'm going to create a couple of small reports maybe, and then of course show you how we can use them and explain them a little bit. First off, my name is Jan. I'm a technical account manager at Insight Software. I've been at Insight Software for a little over a decade now. I've been in the NAV Dynamics landscape for about 15 years at this point. So yeah, we're gonna look at Jet Reports in specific. I have a lot of experience with a lot of business BI toolings and reporting toolings, but today we're gonna talk about Jet Reports. So Insight Software. At Insight Software, we enable the office of the CFO to connect and make sense of their enterprise data in real time. So for that, we have a number of software suites to connect to an equally large number of ERP systems. We have over 40 locations worldwide. So from those locations, using over 2,000 employees, we can serve over 150 countries. An interesting number here is of the 30,000 plus customers we have, over a third are Jet Reports customers. So we have Jet Reports is one of our flagship products, and I'll be happy today to show you the ins and outs of this product. As you can see, we have a large suite of products, from treasury to reporting to analytics. But today we'll be focusing on Jet Reports. Starting off, why Jet Reports? So what we see a lot of the time is, of course, static spreadsheets. What that means is spreadsheets that just have numbers in there, which are manually entered, maybe exported or copy pasted from the ERP system. All of these things take time, take effort, and can produce errors. So a lot of the time, especially in finance, we see stuff like this popping up. People doing this on a monthly basis, weekly basis, or even daily basis. And this is what we want to try to avoid. On the other side, if we have automated exports, a lot of the time development is needed, or we need someone with really specific technical skills to be able to adjust these reports. What we do with Jet Reports is we give a reporting tool that is set in a familiar environment. Now, a familiar environment, especially for people working a lot with numbers, in inventory, in purchase, in finance, we see a lot of extensive Excel knowledge, which is great, and that is also what we leverage using Jet Reports. So this allows us to pull live data from the ERP to Jet Reports to Excel, and allows people with this Excel knowledge to build and modify their own reports, so you can have them up to date with your business needs, and then allow your colleagues to refresh these reports whenever they want, enter a couple of new filters, and get the newest, latest data in there. So with Jet Reports, this allowing people making these reports in Excel is actually the most important part. We all also seamlessly integrate with Dynamics. We've upgraded from Dynamics over almost 2 decades ago up until now, and a lot of these reports can just be are just portable across all these versions. Because what we solve in the middle, of course, is these connectors, whether it's a web service or a C-front or direct SQL connection. That doesn't really matter to the report. You can just make it portable to the next version of your ERP system without any hiccup whatsoever in between. Because these reports are built in Excel, they can be done with a lot less technical knowledge and a lot faster, with all the freedom we're used to in Excel. We also, to help our customers get going, we have an extensive library of reports already. If I'm not mistaken, at this point there are about 100 or about 80 standard reports in there that you can just download from the website, have a look at, and use on your own data or modify to match your own needs perfectly. I'll dive straight into the product right now. For that, I'll be opening up, of course, an Excel file. And of course, what does an Excel add-in like Jet Reports mean? As you might have spotted here, I have an extra ribbon called Jet, and I'll open that up. And it just gives us a lot of extra buttons there. I'll start off on the right here, where you can see I can actually have a drop down of several data sources. And in the setup, I already have an older NAV 2015, but also a fairly recent Business Central. Next to that, I can actually select a company. The product allows us to very easily consolidate data between those companies if we want, but we can also switch between these companies on the fly for specific reports. So the options are there. We can even cross database, cross company, consolidate or report, which is a really nice option to have if you have, for example, maybe some older data in a database that is now upgraded. You can still really easily fetch it and combine it with your newer data. Okay, so in the middle here, this largest section is our toolbox we get delivered with Jet Reports. So as you can see, these are 4 new functions, and that is actually what we add to Excel, are a couple new functions that allow us to pull all the data from BC in several different ways. I'll show you at least one of these later on, but I'll start off with one of the wizards. And the other ones are more wizard-like, allow us to often drag and drop data on there. And I'll demonstrate with Fast Financials. Fast Financials is going to load up my chart of accounts. And the chart of accounts, in that chart of accounts, I can just start clicking away on account numbers that interest me. There we go. I can make, for example, something like a P&L in here, and just click the accounts I already have set up in Business Central, whether they are just posting accounts or they are summary accounts or totaling accounts. I can just all put them in here. Now the function that this wizard uses is the GL function. And I'll show you the GL function just briefly. What the GL function allows us is just get a live balance of an account, a GL account. So it'll get us a live balance of a GL account. Now we can use all the filters we know from BC for that. So we could use the dot, we could use the pipe. Let me get these accounts, maybe do a dot there. There you go. And imagine I have a sheet like this, and I just want the GL account, the balance for those GL accounts. I can just do equals and just get equals GL and get the balance. This could also be budget or credit or debit, and then point to these accounts. and I immediately get this number even in design mode. It just fetches that data for me. Of course, in terms of formatting, I can just use Excel. And then I run this report, I get a pop-up that asks me for a couple of questions. This pop-up appears because I made this little chart of accounts with a wizard, and the wizard generated a sheet that allows for this pop-up. So this is completely, you can completely tailor this to your needs. You can add the dimensions you need or remove the ones you don't. In the company, I could even put an asterisk there to run over all the companies, or put multiple companies in there using a pipe. That will just work. But I can now run this, and I got a refresh of this data. As you can see, if I click any of these numbers, I have an arrow pop up next to it. So this arrow, I can actually just click, and this will throw me to the browser. In this case, throw me to the web client of BC and just show me the information, show me where this 6,200,000 comes from. And as you can see, it applied the filters as I applied them on the sheet. If there's, of course, date filters in there, they will also pop up in here. So this is a really powerful and easy tool to give more data in this report without actually all putting it in that Excel file, allowing people just a portal towards their Business Central. In this case, it is the web client, but if people prefer to use the Windows client, we can also just use that, of course, and it'll open up the Windows client for them exactly the same way, with the correct form, with the filters applied, to show you where does this number come from. It's a very powerful functionality. I'll go back to design and show you one other way of building reports, basic way of starting to build a report. So I call this sheet accounts, need a plural, accounts, and I'll create a new sheet. For now, I pull up the browser, and the browser on the left here gives me all the tables that are in my BC, and on the right, it gives me the fields of the table I selected on the left. So let me select a simple table. I got the customer table here. Has a little blue star here, which means it's already in my favorites. So I can make a list of favorites of table I use regularly, which make it a lot clearer during report building. So let me find a couple of fields on here that I can drag and drop and make a simple customer list, number and name. That's all I'm going to add now. Maybe add a little balance on there. So I have a balance here. There we go. Put that on there. It has a setting that it also shows the field number. I'm going to remove those just for clarity. And maybe rename this field to balance local currency. And now I can start formatting this. So we can take, when doing training for this, we can take a really big shortcut that we can't do with almost any other tooling we have. And that shortcut is we can avoid a lot of the basic stuff, like how do I make these cells balloon, right? How do I put this text in white and then make the text a bit bigger? And we can avoid all of that during training, because we can assume that most people know how to do this in Excel. So we don't have to explain them how to put a frame around this. And even a bit further, using formulas, we don't have to explain how to put a total here, because we can just select this and use the Excel auto sum, use a sum in Excel, make this number formatting. So a lot of it is leveraging Excel functionality. It goes a lot further, of course. We can use the charts, we can use the pivot tables in Excel, we can use conditional formatting, we can use it all in there. So a lot of the time when we see someone is looking for something, how to do it in a report in JET, it's usually not the JET knowledge that is the powerful tool, but it's the Excel knowledge that allows us to build really nice and useful reports. So I can run this again. This report now has two sheets, one with the accounts and one with the customers, with the balance. And as you can see, it has all these customers on there with their total on the bottom, with a nice little sum that has expanded itself just as Excel is supposed to do, of course. And then when I click any of this, these customers, I also get the drop down or the drill down arrow. I can click that one. And again, it'll just pop open the relevant client and show me that customer. There you go. I'll back up. So back to design. I'm going to make that total a bit bigger and call this my customer balances. There we go. Back into design, I now want to distribute this report to my colleagues, for example. There's a couple of ways I could do this. Of course, I could run this and just save this and send it to them. And my colleagues who might not have the Excel add-in, might not have chat even, they will just get it as an Excel file. And that'll be fine. It'll be static for them, but you have a very easy way to update it. Of course, I could also schedule this, have this scheduled and automatically send it out to them every month on a certain date. Again, they don't need anything extra for them. They can just get it as an Excel file. But a lot more interesting is when I allow my colleagues all to run this report when they want and how they want it, and allow them to enter these filters themselves. So I could save this in a shared folder and then have them use the chat add-in to just refresh it, and they won't be able to edit it, so they can just run it and enter the filters. Now, the problem with shared folders, there's a couple of problems with there. My colleague might really like this report, and instead of using the one in the shared folders, he just copies that one and put it on his desktop. Now, 2 years later, he's still using that report, and you might have already made a version 2, version 3 of that report. So that's not that interesting. We use it at a lot of clients, and it works, but there is some limit on versioning you can do there, and even control of that shared folder. So we have a nice little tool to fix that. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to save this as a report on my desktop called 2 sheets. There we go. Let's run this report again. It's perfect. And I'm going to upload this report. It says it needs to be saved. Press yes, save again, no problem. There we go. And this report is now being uploaded. I can open up the Jet Hub just by clicking this button, or I could go through the browser as I just wanted to do, but I'll just use the button now. And I got a report here called 2 sheets, which is never run. So I can just click this run button, and in the browser, in whatever layout or device I'm using, I can actually enter my filters here and run the report again. So that could be a Chromebook or a MacBook or a smartphone. Anything with a browser basically can then run this report. Once it's completed, as it's completed, of course, once it's completed, I can open it up, and it allows me for 1 or 2 ways to open up this report. I could just download this, and of course it says, yeah, you need some sort of Excel to be able to open it up. But even a smartphone these days can have some Excel installed in it, and then just look at the report in Excel there. The other one is open in Excel Online. And this will give me a pop-up. The first time it'll allow me to log in using my Excel Online credentials if I haven't already. And then it just opens up in Excel. And the advantage of this is, of course, that you never leave the browser. So, as I said, any device with a browser can actually refresh this report and then open it up. And you can, of course, make sure that maybe your employees or your colleagues can do this from a remote place, just on their smartphone, open up lists like this or numbers like this. There you go. And that is a Jet Hub. Of course, the Jet Hub has some extra functionality in here. If I, as an end user, I really like this report, I don't want to go in here every single time and run it, I can schedule it for myself. I can just say, oh, set this up to schedule to me every day or every week. But as a designer, it also has some nice features, because we can have different versions on here. So we can have a version management of this report. Maybe something changed in the numbers, and the version management here will allow you to go back to another version or have a look at those. One of the things I really like, and anyone who's ever made reports for colleagues can probably attest to this, is I made, for example, 30 or 50 or 150 reports after a year or two. And you're posing yourself the question, who's using which report? The Jet Hub actually keeps track of that, and it also keeps track of the filters that are used in those runs. So you have a really nice run history of who ran what report at what time, and even using which filters. So that's a really nice tooling for someone who's built a number of reports to keep track of that. So that is the Jet Hub. The Jet Hub is always included in Jet reports. So whatever version of Jet reports you have, the Jet Hub is included in that. So to do a quick recap, Jet reports actually allows us to automate almost every Excel report. Any Excel file you have, we can automate using Jet reports. Which of course gives us a lot of gains us a lot of time and eliminates a lot of human error. What are the main properties of Jet reports? Of course, it's built for Microsoft Dynamics. We've been doing this for a long time, and we have a lot of functionality that's very specific to Microsoft Dynamics that we incorporate and embrace using Jet reports. We get live data from the ERP. We have a multitude of connectors, so we can always connect to all your Dynamics products. Because we are in that dynamic space, we also have access to all the fields, and these include flow fields and extensions, which are often harder to reach or harder to report on. Jet Reports just integrates them seamlessly. We can drill down directly into a BC client. If we have a number there, we can just drill through, open it up in the BC client, whether it's the Windows client or the web client, no issue. And of course, we also leverage the BC user rights. So if someone has no access to payroll information, but for some reason or by accident, they stumble upon a report that would go over payroll, they cannot refresh it. So that is also closed down. Same goes for a company. Maybe someone has access to 2 companies, but not the other 2. He can't run a report over those 2 he doesn't have access to. So we leverage the BC user rights in that case. The scheduler we have in the in Excel is a really powerful scheduler. It allows us to batch schedule, but also conditional schedule. What are those? So conditional scheduling is actually the simplest one. It's basically where I say, look, run this report every week or maybe even every day, but only send it out when a certain condition is met. This is really simple to set up, even in Excel, where you can say, basically use an if function in Excel, which will trigger our scheduler yes or no, whether a report is sent. So really simple to set up, but really powerful tool set. The batch scheduling is also a very interesting one. It's where we say, for example, I have this nice report, but I want to send it out to every customer every month. Of course, you're not gonna do a selection of all the customers and then send it out to all the customers. That's not how that works. That report is gonna run once for every customer and make a different version of that report for every customer. Now, it's all fine if you only have a couple of customers and you need to set it up. But if you want to do this to 50 or 100 or more customers, batch scheduling allows you to do that really easily, automatically, where you can just pull the customers from your system, even pull the email addresses from your BC, for example, and just batch schedule a report like that. Of course, the biggest asset, as I mentioned before, is that we use Excel, which allows us a lot of powerful tools within Excel, but also a very familiar interface that requires little or no training for people using Excel. And lastly, as I showed you, the Jet Hub, of course, included in Jet Reports, which allows us to distribute these Excels in a controlled way and allows us to even run Excel reports without ever opening up Excel. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, ask them. I will be happy to answer you. And other than that, I wish you all a very good day and hope to see you next time. Bye.